want to engage their students in what's going on at school, and they also want to provide content to the student. And then for the company itself, my customer wanted to make sure that they remain competitive. At the same time, they want to make sure that this can be done easily, technically, and they want to do it within a budget. They want to do it in such a way that every time a new campus wants it, that they can do it quickly, and also they want to be able to change it. There is a roadmap for it, and you'll see in a minute what features they have now and what features are coming. So we wanted to do all that planning ahead of time before any of the work started. So what do we need to do? First off, obviously we needed to meet the needs of the end users. Here you can see some very young students collected in the common area in a dormitory at school, and they're all watching television. But actually, this is not the way users behave anymore, obviously. This is how they behave. People watch on many different screens. If you take yourself out of my presentation and think about how you watch TV now, you watch more video on your phone or on your laptop than you watch on a television set if you're the average millennial or younger. In fact, I participated in a panel about a year ago which had a number of students from Amsterdam. It was at the IBC conference in Amsterdam a year ago. And we went through the panel of 5 students one at a time and said, do you subscribe to a TV service at home? And 4 out of 5 people said, no, we don't. One of them said, well, we steal our parents' TV online. Another one said, yeah, we just use YouTube. One of them happened to have TV in the dorm room, so they were the ones that said yes. But none of them paid for TV. So what we needed to do was come up with a model that made money for my customer, but at the same time either reduced or eliminated the cost of the service for the actual users. And so the business model is that the university is charged for this service, and then the university simply includes it in the cost of administration at the university. So someone that's on campus, this is just part of the cost of student housing, and the student doesn't see the cost. For them, it's no cost. So what were our basic goals? With the theme of this presentation being hiding the complexity, we want to make sure that everything is really easy and friction-free, as we would call it. First, it has to be easy to get. So you download it from the App Store, just like everything else. You use the same ID and password. If you're a student, you have an ID and password from the university to see your grades and to schedule your classes. And for this, we're implementing single sign-up, so you can use the same ID and password to get to your PD service. Easy to use. The demonstration I gave you a few minutes ago, it doesn't look that different from other TV apps. You don't have to do very much to get to the features that you need. It works the same whether it's on a smartphone or a tablet or a player or on your web browser. The look and feel is the same. If you're on an Android phone, you expect the button on the left at the bottom to work a certain way, and it works that way with this. And also, we use technologies that everybody is familiar with. We didn't invent anything new. So how did we prepare for all this? This is where we hide the complexity. So you saw a fairly simple, straightforward user experience. You saw the thought process that went into creating this experience. Now, how to prepare? First off, we did a lot of research. What does TV look like? How do the users watch TV? And again, people don't normally watch in a common room anymore. They watch privately and they watch on their own device. We had to understand that. This company had competitors. We wanted to see what the competitors were doing. And using that information, then we would define and prioritize what the app would do and what kind of content. I'll spend a minute, in a minute, I'll spend a couple of minutes, but not long, on the architecture for this because it's quite complicated. But we had to define what that was. And also to get the content to provide the students over this service, we had to make sure that this was secure and it was not subject to piracy, especially students, because we know that students try to get everything for free, just like everybody else. But at the same time, the content providers would not give us content unless we could guarantee that it was secure. Obviously, we needed to be able to support this at a low cost. We needed to do it within a budget. Now, as a project, we had to establish a leader and give that person the ability to make decisions and make purchases and make changes. And that person was me. I was a contractor, but I acted as the program manager for this for 2 years. This engagement for me is complete because the service is in service. I maintain contact with them as an outside resource, and every once in a while they need me, but it's in service. They've hired a person to take over that role internally, and so they have a leader. The next thing is to clearly define what it will be, which we did. We documented that in terms of the features we needed and the technologies we needed. Now this had to run in a facility, so we had to define what the facilities had to be, and we recommended an architecture for it and a budget. So this is how we made the user experience work. First off, we had to chart it out. In the demo, you saw me go to the home screen, the TV guide to favorites to my recordings, and you saw settings. And you see in gray there, video on demand is a future feature. So we had to clearly define what this would be. And we did it screen by screen. How do you log in? You see what's on now. How do you see the programs that are available? How do you play the programs? Everything had to be defined very clearly up front, because that way, when we went out to the vendors to get all the pieces, they knew what we were trying to accomplish, and there was no guessing. We thought we did a pretty good job with that. So you see there's a lot of technology involved. How did we make it invisible? First off, we made sure that it was simple enough that you did not need any instructions on how to use it. We also wanted to support all the devices that people use. So these are devices that are, some of them may not be available in Europe. I don't know if Roku is available there, maybe it is, but Amazon here in the States has a device called Fire TV. The rest of these devices are available worldwide. But we had to make sure that we supported all these devices around our customer base. We also wanted to make sure that it worked the way that the end users expected. So we used the user interface resources these platforms gave to us rather than invent anything new. Technologies were all industry standard, and we made it easy for designers to change. So if you wanted to change the color scheme or the logo or the channel lineup, or for that matter, the layout, that's all very easy to do. That was a very deliberate choice to create to incorporate a service platform and a design platform that allowed us to do it. I know I'm almost running out of time here, so let me very quickly step through all the complicated pieces. The goals that my customer had was to make sure that it could be put into multiple schools and customizable for each school, as I just mentioned. Easy to add new content, standardized so it's easy to put in and implement, and we found that now it can be put into place and put into service in less than 30 days after the university says, yes, we want this. It takes 30 days or less from the time of the order to ship the equipment to the local campus, put it in place, get it working, and put it into service. We made sure that it's easy to maintain because it's very expensive to do technical support. Very quickly, the national programming comes from a national source, which is called the HEAD, and there are about 80 channels there that are the normal American pay TV channels. Channels like HBO and CNN and National Football League, American football, American baseball. There's about 80 channels of that national programming. And then each local campus has a receiver and a set of equipment that lets them add local channels. And so they have their local, let's say the campus is in Seattle, Washington. They have their local Seattle channels as well. At the master national head end, they have to turn all the content into a format that can be distributed to all of the devices that we're targeting in different screen sizes. So on the left, programming is acquired from the various programming sources, and then in the middle, where it says head end, you can see the 3 dots there. Blue dot is high resolution, the green dot is medium resolution, let's say for an iPad, and then the red one is for a low size, small size screen like an iPhone. And that has to be processed and stored on server, and then delivered to the end users on the right, which might be in a campus residence at the dormitory. And we had to think about how they would connect and how they would have guaranteed quality of service. And you can see that the red dot, the low resolution, went to smaller screens. The blue dot, which is the high resolution, went to larger screens. Okay. We also had to make sure that and I won't lead you through this because I know I'm almost out of time, but there's a very specific flow of events that has to happen to make sure that the end user is authorized to see the content and can be authenticated to watch it, so keys are delivered to the end device and can unlock the content so you can watch it. We used a very deliberate process to select our vendors, and the vendors were in a number of different categories. We created a requirements document and then went to vendors in each of these categories, selected some panels, all presented to us formally, and we recommended, me as the consultant recommended who the preferred solution would be, and then they went up to put it in place. So now the system is built. It's in service in about 40 universities. They're adding 3 or 4 every month. Actually, I think it's more than that now. The last that I looked, they had about 100,000 users in commercial service. Now, so the company has learned how to do this. They know how to support it. They can put it into a service in a few weeks. Very importantly, and something that we thought about in the beginning, was to put a lab in place that was completely separate from the production network. In case there was a problem, we could quickly try to duplicate the problem, isolate where the faults are if there's a problem, and then resolve quickly without bringing the service down. This was an extremely important step. And so, through experience, efficiency is improving. It was challenging. It's challenging to find the errors. It's challenging to make sure that all the apps work the same way. It's challenging to make the technologies work correctly, particularly in the area of security. And really, really important that the team communicates. Anybody who's involved in software development knows about DevOps, and they know about Scrums and Agile methodology, and we use those methodologies in this project. We had meetings every day, and it was a challenge because this team was distributed over 9 time zones. We had 2 of our software developers were in Denmark. We had resources in New York City. I'm in Seattle on the West Coast. My customer is in Texas, and we had vendors in Alabama and in Oregon. So when we had conference calls, it really was across 9 time zones every day. And so we had to make sure that everybody was available at the right time and so forth. I can't overemphasize how important it is to communicate internally if you're going to make this high-tech service available and easy to use for your end users. So next, we're looking at ways to make the service better in terms of the end user design and also in terms of new features. We have a roadmap, which means a plan for the future. Also, we're looking at ways to reduce the cost. So that's my presentation. I went about 5 minutes over. I apologize for that, but I want to thank you for the opportunity to tell you how we made a very high-tech, very complicated service into something that's easy for people to use, and thank you for that.
Steve, a million thanks.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Very complex, a lot of work.
Yes, it was a lot of work. It was 2 years, and it was a real challenge. We rose to the challenge, and certainly we made it work, and I would love to do this again for another customer. It was one of the best things I've done in my entire professional career, and I really enjoyed it. Would love to do it again. So if anybody's listening. Okay.
Here we are in a university.
Pardon me?
This is a university, so
Okay.
it's a good place to mention this.
All right. Well, have a great evening, everyone, and I wish you all the success in the world. And good night.
Hey,
Good night.
I phone you.
Thank you.